Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how I cut and sew this beautiful the bust corset you are watching on the screen right now. I'll be showing you in details of how I cut it from beginning to the end. So if today is the first time of watching this channel, you are welcome, and if you are a return subscriber, you are welcome as well. So if today is the first time of joining this channel, kindly subscribe to this channel, and if you are interested in this kind of tutorial, kindly stay back and watch this tutorial from beginning to the end. So let's get started and see how it goes. So here are the fabrics we are going to be working with in this tutorial. We will need our Ankara fabric. This is it. We will need our stay. I'm using this stay, and this is our interfacing, which is our lining that we'll be using for this tutorial. At the same time, we need this sample net for this tutorial. I already give the velvet that I'll be using as the plain material for them to add my stay to it before we start to cut. And definitely for this tutorial we will need our pattern paper, our marker, our paper stay, and scissors and our tape rule. So those are the things we need for this tutorial. So let's get started and see how it goes. So the first thing we are working with in this tutorial is the person half length. You need the person half length for this tutorial. So let's measure out the half length. The half length we are working with in this tutorial is the half length of 15. So we're going to take the half length of 15. So this is 15. After this 15, we are going to take the underbust. The underbust is 12. This is it that I just take right now. So the next thing we are going to take is the person bust pan, which is our breast point. Our breast point is 9.5. I hope you are getting it. So I just click that. I click the half length, the underbust, and the breast point. So after the breast point, the next thing we are going to measure now is the person upper bust. If possible, you can take your customer measurement for our upper bust, but before we move to that, let's rule all our lines out. That is, let's rule the breast point, the underbust, and the half length out. Can you see that? So these lines that we have right here now is our half length, our underbust, and our breast point. I want to do the breast point. It looks like it's not straight, so just make it a little bit straight. So this is what we have right now. I hope you are getting it. So now, to get your upper bust, depending on your choice, you can decide to take your measurement, take it from your breast point a little bit up. So this makes, so I just use 2.5 to come up to my upper bust. So that's my upper bust line. So I come up from my breast point, I come up with 2.5. That makes it my upper bust. If you don't want your cleavage to show at all, you can decide to use 3 depending on your choice. Then the next thing I measure now is the person shoulder measurement plus sewing allowance. So anything I use for the shoulder measurement is what I always use for my armhole measurement. That is what I just measure out. So I have all together, all the thing I have here is 8. So I'm going to measure the same thing at this edge as well. Then I'm going to connect the lines together. That's it. Then I'll connect it just as shown. Just connect it as shown. After you are done with that, the next thing you need to measure out is the half of your armhole measurement, armhole circumference. So what is the half of your armhole circumference? Just mark it out and come to this side as well. Mark your half inch as well at that edge. Then take your French curve and connect the line as shown. Can you see the way I'm doing it? Exactly the way I'm doing it. Just connect it. Can you see that? So after you are done with that, the next thing we need to do now is to measure out our nipple to nipple, which is our breast span. So for the nipple to nipple, I'll be using 4. That 4 is 8 because the fabric, the paper is on fold. So the 4 that I'm just measuring out right here now is 8. So I'm going to connect the lines together. And after you connect the line as shown, the next thing you need to do now is to do our bustier right here. So for this place, you can decide to use 1 inches, 1 at each side, 1 by 1, and you can decide to use 1.5 at this part. Can you see? And use 1 inches at the middle part. Anything you measure right here, you're going to repeat it at the under bust as well, because this is the under bust for the under bust tightening. So you need to do that. So the next thing we are going to do now is to connect these 2 lines together. So let's connect the lines together. Can you see what we have? This is what you're going to have after you connect your lines together. Now, another thing you need to do is just please watch this place carefully and follow the procedure the way I do it. Just follow it. Place your French curve as shown. Place it as shown. Can you see? Then stop right here. Come to the other side as well. The same thing you did at the other part. Repeat it at this side as well. Can you see? Now, when you are done with this, the next thing you need to do, the same thing you do at the half length, repeat it at the upper bust. Repeat it at the upper bust. You can decide to use the same thing you use at the down part. You can decide to use 1 by 1 on both sides. So let's use the same thing we use on this part. Let's use it. Let's use the same thing we use right here. Can you see what we have here? Repeat the same thing at this edge as well. So after you are done with that, the next thing you need to measure out is your bust measurement, your waist measurement, and you are going to add your sewing allowance plus how many inches was missing. Don't forget, the bust measurement is 36. 36 plus 2 in sewing allowance, that is what we have right here. Come to the waist measurements. Our waist measurement is 28. 28 divided by 4 will give us 7 plus 2 in sewing allowance. How many inches is missing here? 2.5. Return it back. It's very, very important. Then connect it. Connect the two together. So after you are done with that, connect this like this. Can you see? So that's what we're going to have. So before we cut it out, let's take out our neckline measurement. For the neckline, I'll be using 3 1/4 or 3.5. You can decide to use anything that you like for your neckline. So I'll be using 3.5 by 3 for the neckline. 3.5 by 3. Then I'll measure the same thing here. And I'm going to connect the 2 lines together right now. I hope you are getting the tutorial. So that is for the neckline. Then I'm going to connect this together. That is for the neckline. Now, depend on your yoke. This is our yoke at the upper part right there. You can decide to do anything you like on your yoke. You can decide to change it to queen honey neckline. You can decide to use V at this part. You can decide to leave it like that. You can decide to do anything. So for this one now, I just feel like let me do something set different. So I decided to use 4 corner for this place. For this part, I decided to use 4 corner. So I just want to try it and see how the 4 corner will looks like. Just want to see how it looks like, and hopefully it's beautiful after doing it. I like it. So the next thing I'll do now is to connect my shoulder slope. So we are done drafting our paper. So the next thing we are going to do now is to cut out the paper. We are going to cut it out one after the other. So let's start cutting it out. So the next thing I'll be doing right now is that I'll start cutting all my pattern paper on the fabric. I'll start cutting everything I cut on the pattern paper. I'll start cutting them on my main fabric. This is the Duchess I will be using for this tutorial. Sorry, this is a velvet material, and I already had my ST on it. So I'll start cutting them. I'll cut the Ankara, I'll cut the upper bust. I'll start cutting everything one after the other on the main fabric. So I added the ST even to the lining. I added the ST inside the main fabric. I added the ST inside the lining as well. You can decide to add it to the lining, and you can decide not to do so. That one is not compulsory, but I just feel like let me just do it like that. And I already cut my body, so I'll be showing you in details of how I sew it in the sewing tutorial. But anyway, when I sew it finish, this is what I have, this is what I got. Thanks for joining the channel. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.